That, of course, was President Lyndon B. Johnson addressing the country right before he signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964 into law. That landmark piece of legislation made it illegal to discriminate based on race and color, religion, sex, and national origin. 60 years later, the National Urban League says there's still work to be done. It is all outlined in its 2024 State of Black America report that comes out today. Now, this report assesses how Black Americans are faring economically and socially compared to white Americans. They gave it a score of just under 76%. 100% would be full equality. The president of the National Urban League, Marc Morial, joins us at the table. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Morial.
Great to be with you.
Yes, you are well known in this building, also known as Michelle Miller's better half.
Mr. Michelle Miller.
Yeah, Mr. Michelle Miller, if you please. We're very glad to have you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
76% when I was in school was a C+, never a grade. I used to get in trouble for getting a grade of a C+. How did you come up with this score? What exactly does it mean?
So thanks for having me and good morning. We look at 300 data sets, and those data sets include everything from unemployment rates, death rates, health insurance pickup rates, capital formation rates, and when we put them all together, they are in an index. And so the status of white Americans is at 1, and Black Americans is a percentage of 1. So the comparative would be, let's look at family income. Median family income for Blacks, maybe 45,000, maybe for whites, 75,000. So that's a fundamental idea what the comparison is. And so that 75% represents, Gayle, a little bit of a change over the last 3 or 4 years. But at that rate, we're 180 years away from parity.
That's the number that drew my attention, 180 years. Why, Mark?
But
How?
let's say this, the Civil Rights Act of 64 that President Johnson signed has had a dramatic impact on America. Look at you and Nate. Look at others who work here at CBS. It's just an example. There were no Blacks, there were no women sitting at any anchor desk in 1964. I think one of the reasons is because while there are those who push for progress, there have also been those who pushed against progress. Witness today the over 1,000 bills that have been introduced at state legislatures to make it more difficult for people to vote. Witness today the effort to, in effect, push back on DE&I, which is simply an effort to push back on equal economic opportunity. I mean, there is a resistance movement to the kinds of change that the nation needs. And there was one in 1964, and there's one in 2024, and it's intensified.
Yeah, 180 years seems like a daunting number to look at.
Because none of us will be here.
Right.
In this room.
Right. Is there a way for us to narrow that gap in those areas quicker than that?
I think we could accelerate by, number one, ensuring that the access to the right to vote and democracy is unfettered. Number two, by taking a hard line to address the issues of economics, poverty, the economic divide, and the racial wealth divide. I think we also can make a difference if we focus on children. For example, the child tax credit, which passed in the early days of the Biden administration, but then expired, cut child poverty by 1/2 in a short period of time. Are there things that we can do? Look, what's dramatic is that the Civil Rights Act of 64, the Voting Rights Act of 65, the Great Society programs in the middle 1960s probably cut the American poverty rate in half in a 15-year period. So can we?
There are
yes,
ways.
There are ways.
Mark, can you address Donald Trump's comments recently that his support among Black Americans is rising? He said in part because of the indictments that are now part of his legacy.
Indictments, the mugshots.
My personal point of view is that it's a fantasy and it's an effort to engage in what I call drive-by politics. What people have to do is, whether they're analyzing Donald Trump or Joe Biden, analyze the record.
Okay.
How about the Central Park 5, Donald? How about the fact that you had the least diverse administration in modern American history? How about the fact that you literally did nothing to engage African Americans and Latinos other than condemnation during your years as president? So people, I encourage people when they evaluate who they're going to vote for to look at the totality of someone's record, not a piece of rhetoric, not a statement in isolation.
Yeah.
All right.
He did lose 92% of black voters in 2020, so
Yeah.
he's not doing too well with
Yeah.
that group. But we'll see what happens in the next election. Marc Morial, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Really great to
and
have you here.
everyone, read the report.
Report is-
at NUL.org, and I appreciate the chance to come out. And also, we got a documentary called The Gumbo Coalition that talks about our work as well. It's at HBO.
Can't wait to check that out.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
The
thank
Civil
you,
Rights
guys.
Act
Thank
of
you.
64, 60 years later, state of black America. Thank you very much.